is a Cosmic Octave original podcast.
Me and Jake running down the street with a handful of comic books, kicking ass and banging chicks and drinking booze
No, not
and
me.
smoking
Not
weed.
me. I'm married.
Yeah, well,
I'm married.
Jake.
Can't do that.
Yeah. Off panel, off topic with Jake and Tyler.
All right.
All right.
Episode 198.
Who the fuck are you?
33 seconds. 33.
Oh.
3 seconds. That'd be impressive. We're good. I'm pretty sure we're good ad-wise. We're not getting ads. But, if we were ever to trying to monetize,
Stop
I
it.
think we're good. Stop it. Get some help.
Stop fucking swearing so much. I'm Tyler.
I'm Jake. And this is a
Whenever
horny episode.
Wow.
Because we're talking about Daredevil
Oh.
Born Again, and then we're also talking about Daredevil Cold Day in Hell,
Yeah.
a mini-series. So we'll talk about that.
Yeah, and we got some thoughts on it. I have good and bad thoughts about it.
Both things? Both the show and the comic book?
Well, yeah. I guess I suppose I do.
That was the most vague fucking thing you could
Well,
say.
look. When
I have some thoughts.
somebody
Good
gets
and bad.
punched in the face by 9 to 12 different people and he's still alive, I just... I call bullshit.
It's called a comic book show, man.
I'm aware.
I'm aware.
I'm aware of my... somethings. So,
Anyway, how you feeling, buddy?
I'm feeling great.
Great.
I was in Indiana last week.
You saw Hoosiers in a gym.
I did.
Wait. Hold on. Is it off-panel, off-road, Tyler? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
I don't have the sounder. I apologize.
That's fucking fine, I guess.
We've been
opening your things so I
dealing
can
with
show
some
you
tech
the ones.
issues.
It's fine.
We've been crying. We've been laughing.
We've been crying and we've been laughing.
So Tyler went on a trip
Mm-hmm.
to go see the Hoosiers in the gym. We've talked about it on the show. And if you don't follow Tyler on TikTok, there's some...
You should.
Yeah.
At the amazing.tbird, I think.
It's
I'm
amazing.
such an idiot.
At amazing.tbird.
That's what I thought.
That's it.
Yeah.
But you were just talking about, you felt that different times you were crying, but not tears of sadness. Tears of joy.
So,
'Cause I feel like you
play the
were
one.
Talking about
Play
just...
the one that's got like 3,000. That's the one we
Oh,
want.
my gosh.
Just play it.
What has 3,000? Nothing has 3,000.
This one is
Why don't you do it? It's your TikTok.
Well, give it to me.
No, you have it pulled up.
Oh, but okay, I'll connect with my Bluetooth. What's it called?
Oh, no. Yeah, you're right. Mine's connected. You're so smart, Tyler.
Yeah,
So,
you wouldn't.
anyway, Tyler went on this trip,
guess it.
and I think the one that you wanted to play that was really pertinent, that kind of summed up the trip for you.
Yeah, I don't need to introduce it this time because
Yeah.
everything I said when I introduced it, just go and play it.
Hey, it's your amazing T-Bird, the amazing T-Bird, and I'm just had breakfast. I'm gonna go up and shower.
No.
So I just got done at the
It's okay.
Oscar gym.
I've looked him up,
I
so
didn't
while you're off.
realize how much how emotional it was gonna make me. Not a huge basketball guy. Love Gene Hackman. Hoosiers is a great movie, but it's not like one of my all-time favorites. But I am literally standing in there shooting hoops, and it's just the most fucking glorious thing ever. It's not often that you just weep for joy, and I've done that twice now on this trip, and I don't mind because it feels good to just.
Let it out, bro.
Love you guys.
Look,
I'm glad that you brought that up and shared that, because I think as I'm getting older, the more I'm realizing, especially for men, I think we live in a society that always teaches us not to fully express ourselves and to not cry and embrace the feelings that you're having. And I think that I'm glad that you brought that up, because as I've gotten older, just instead of fighting, trying to cry, I just cry. because I want to experience that, because I want
Yeah.
to be like, what is driving
Well,
this? Why is it moving me?
It
You know
sounds
what I mean?
like I'm trying to choke it back, but I'm not. I've been crying a little bit for a while, and it's that's kind of how I cry. I just
Yeah.
I don't really kind of blubber.
But
a
no,
little bit.
it's good that you
I
were
kinda
able
blubber a little
to
bit.
recognize that it was happiness, that it was tears of gratefulness, that you were, it was cool to be in that moment.
It was
because you were telling me that
whatever the emotion was, it hit me, and it was.
So what was it like?
Big.
So you go into the gym. They had a couple of the actors there doing like a Q&A
They had
before
one
it
of
or
the
after
actors, buddy, from the movie, and it was really cool because like we saw the movie in the gym, so I took a video of that, which was really cool because you're like, oh my god, this is the most meta thing. Will you open your damn phone again?
Why do
'Cause
you?
I want
We're
to play
not
the
playing
fart.
anymore.
I wanted to play the fart
Oh,
one.
okay.
We'll do that real quick, and then I'll tell you more about the movie.
All right, so we're in St. Joseph, Illinois, and I had to stop and get gas and everything. About 2 hours away.
I actually
plus
had to
the
pee
time
really
change was
bad.
about 3. It's a pretty brutal ride, but I have myself for company, and I'm great. So, I get to listen to all the music that I want. It's great. If I fart, I don't have to roll down the window.
You just bask in it.
All right, so we're in St. Joseph, Illinois, and I had to stop and
Maybe.
get gas and everything.
But yeah, it was really cool
That was
because
my favorite video.
it's in a residential area, so like even if they had like 500 people, it would have been a problem. You know what I mean? Like they wouldn't have had enough room on the streets in the town for 500 people's worth of cars, right? You get what I'm saying? So fuck parking, right? Like fuck anything. Like so, it was. I think that's why they didn't want to make it really national. It was kind of one of those things. Like
Yeah.
if you know about the movie and you follow the movie, you know about the gym. You've been there before. I didn't get on a mailing list, I don't think, but there might be one.
Yeah.
I know that definitely a lot of people were from around the area. Buddy, his name is Brad Long. He lives in the area, and. Funny story, the guy that I hung out with, Idiotic Oddity, who's one of my Twitter buddies, he is neighbors with him. So I was talking to him about that at lunch, and it was really interesting. But so one person was there from Utah, and that was kind of like, okay, that's farther than me.
We're
so
not liked in that state.
I didn't.
But they don't have internet, so
Oh
it's
yeah,
fine.
I didn't raise my hand and say like I'm from Iowa, but
fuck you.
wow.
You didn't
No,
say
but
that.
but we watched the movie, and now here's the thing, and I haven't told this on any other areas, but I need to make it clear. I get out there, and while I'm driving out there, I'm like, I'm going to the movie, because it was a thought that I might not go, because I went to the museum earlier that day. The trip was more about me just being with me and getting away from all of it. So if I didn't go back for the movie, okay, no biggie, right?
Little weekend vacation.
Sure, I
Yeah.
can stay
Weekend
in.
getaway.
Yeah, I can stay in, and watch the, whatever. So, and I'm thinking about that, and I'm like, no, I don't want to just do that. So I'm driving
You
there.
didn't go all that way. You could
I
go
get
see it.
there, and yeah, exactly. Well, get there. I'm sitting there, and I'm eating, and I'm sitting on the inside of, and they got a projector, right? So if I get up for any reason, I'm blocking the movie, right? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If I get up and move to my right, or if I even lean to my right, like it's bad. So I'm just like sitting there.
I'm just imagining you just coughing in like a silhouette.
Jeez, wasn't smoking cigarettes.
No, I'm just saying, like what I mean.
Yeah.
You just cough and it just becomes a coughing fit.
Well, it was
You're
not
like
like a movie theater. Like every time
Well, yeah, it's not
the
designed
guy,
for that.
every time the guy was on the screen, like everybody cheered. Like it wasn't.
Yeah.
Nobody was sitting there like, I'm trying to watch the.
Nobody was being like, I've never seen Hoosiers
Come
before.
on, yeah, right.
Well, it's like those. It's like the Rocky Horror Picture Show, or it's like
Yeah, a little
or like
bit.
The Room, where it's like these people going in. No, it's not. You're not just watching the movie. You're in a part of an event. You're a part of
experience.
an
Yeah,
experience.
Yeah, and it was really really fun. But anyway, so I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay. They start their Q&A and stuff, and ultimately at the end of it, looking back on it, I'm glad I stayed. But I'm sitting there, and it's like the movie schedules start at 6:30, and at like 7:50, and they're like, "Hey, the guy who was shooting hoops at the end of the movie is here too. Let's bring him up for Q&A." And I'm just like sitting there like,
Oh, so they split up the movie?
No, they didn't play the movie right away. They did like Q&A for.
Oh, I thought they would do it after the movie.
So would I. Like that
Most of
would
the time
be
they do it afterwards.
Ideal for
Yeah.
me because then
you could just leave whenever.
well, I could leave at 8:30 and get back to my hotel by 9 and actually get out of town on a regular, time in the morning, whatever. Because it's like a half an hour drive, whatever. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, when is it okay to leave? And we start the movie at like 7:20 or something. And I'm like, okay. So at one point I'm like, okay, 8:30. I'm gonna get up to go to the bathroom and just not come back. Like nobody will fucking know.
Who's gonna know?
Seriously.
It's not like you whistle. Hey man, I gotta go piss. And
But if I get up and go to my left, no problems. Nobody's gonna miss anything in the movie because I'm on the aisle.
yeah.
And in the middle of the two seating areas is the projector. Right.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yes. So I'm like, okay, 8:30. I'm gonna just get up to go to the bathroom and go. And I realize I'm like, okay, there's parts that are coming up, and the movie's not as long as I think, and da. And I'm actually glad that they had those Q&As beforehand.
Yeah.
Because while I was watching the movie, some of the stuff they were talking about was playing, and I was, it was brought that home a little bit and made it more real, I guess. And then all of this, and it was just kind of like, there's no reason to leave.
Yeah.
Just watch the fucking movie, So I waited and I sat there throughout the movie, and when they zoom into the portrait at the end in the gym, which was again on the movie screen, they're zooming in. It's fucking over my right shoulder, right here. I can look around. It's right fucking there.
Yeah.
With Gene Hackman and
Right,
all the
yeah.
actors. Yeah, it's right there. And they're zooming in, and I'm just like, and I'm breaking up, of course. And the movie ends, and I'm like, I'm out. I go over to Buddy. I go, hey. I realize that just like some cinematic moments are kind of burned into my head, and one of them, like the first time you see Darth Vader, right? And one of the cinematic moments for me, no shit, is Buddy in the movie Hoosiers chewing his gum. Like the kid with the black flat top? Yeah. Just chewing his gum. There's a bunch of scenes where he's like, there's really tense moments in the movie where they show him like chewing his gum or whatever. And I told him that because I was like, hey, I'm here from Iowa, and that's like a cinematic moment that's like always stuck with me forever, and I just wanted you to know that. And he was like, that's really cool, and I got a picture with him. And then I went home, or back to the hotel. And by the time, because I wanted Bob Evans dinner again. That's what I wanted, and I knew they closed at 9.
Yeah.
So I was like, maybe if I leave at 8:30, I can get there before 9. But working in a kitchen before, I would have been like, I'm sorry, are you trying to come in at 8:55 when I've already cleaned the grill to get food, you fuck? Yeah, I would have been pissed. So it's okay that I stuck around through the whole movie. And it was fun. I'm glad I did. So speaking of off-panel, off-road, that leads us to our next segment, which is called Off...
Jake wishes we wouldn't do it. I'm just kidding. It's a fun segment that I've always been a fan of.
It's called What's in My Mouth. I don't. Do you have that?
What do you mean by that?
Fuck. Wow. You fucking fuck.
Go fuck yourself.
Wow. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Go fuck yourself.
What does it taste? Salty sweet.
Why are you tasting it?
Everybody knows what I'm talking about. I said, hey,
Yeah.
what's it taste like? Salty or sweet?
I could do that
I
easily.
forgot.
We don't know.
You don't know.
So, wow.
There you go.
So while
Put
I
a
was
little of.
while I was in Indiana, Greenfield, Indiana specifically, I stayed at the Quality Inn, and in the
Was it
parking
quality?
lot- yeah, well,
I like that they're like, not best quality, not great quality. It's just quality.
let's just say if you walk into the room and you go check out the bathroom, and the first thing you see is a little sticker above the handle of the toilet that says "Hold down." Not a great place.
We have a bed. That's quality in.
There's a bed and there's no bed bugs, as far as we know. So I think it was a Circle K, but there was a gas station there, and I went there to get snacks from time to time, and it's in the parking lot, so I'm not driving. I don't remember what brand it was. I think it either Circle K or some other. It's Indiana. It's 2 states away. It might be something completely different that I've never even heard of. But they had a chip, like a a Casey's, if you will, like brand chip, right? It's the gas station chip brand, and it's called Spicy Bayou Blaze New Orleans style ripple potato chips. So. The other flavors were, barbecue, sour cream and onion, whatever, right? We've had those. We know what sour cream and onion is. I'm not going to buy some sour cream and onion chips from a place in Indiana because they're from Indiana. Well, maybe people in Indiana have a different idea what sour cream and onion tastes. No, it's a pretty universal fucking flavor. Yeah, fucking what the fuck?
Okay.
Let me just swear a little more.
Oh.
No, I'm sorry. Here, hang on.
No.
One more.
That's too loud.
No, it's not. Brilliant! Yeah, okay.
There you go.
So, without further ado, Bayou Blaze Spicy New Orleans, god damn it, style. I grabbed a couple because I think I'm going to like these ones. It took everything I had not to eat those when I was hanging out Saturday night. What a spice to that.
Well, it is Bayou Blaze.
Why does it taste like I'm high in a swamp? Get it? Bayou Blaze? All right.
Brilliant!
I would have gone sloppy for that one.
Think of the fucking comedy!
Yeah!
I honestly vibe with it. I don't know how much I could eat in the sitting, but I vibe with it. I changed my mind. Got some heat in my throat.
Finish it! Finish it!
That's what this chip is doing to my heart.
That's fucking spicy, yo. Shit. Damn.
I'm gonna say it.
I'll eat your ass.
I enjoy it. That's a big yes from me. Tyler, same?
At this stage of my life, I gotta start watching what I eat. What's really good? Is the one you just did?
Eat your ass.
Bad mother crusher.
That's mine. Same thing.
I can't wait for someone new to the podcast
When I was what the
to hear
fuck?
that. Eat your ass.
Eat your ass.
I'll eat your ass.
Wow. Thanks, Alex. But yeah, you. There's times when you can eat spicy food to the point where you're sweating. Now, if I sat and ate this whole bag, I'd be sweating by the time I got done with it.
Yeah, well,
I could write a book about what you don't know.
nothing.
I'm eating. I can't laugh and
You are nothing but garbage, yeah. Nothing but garbage, Gaina.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's here. The end of season 1 of Daredevil: Born Again
Oh my God!
on Disney Plus. We got some.
What have we
feelings.
come to?
Let's be honest. This is majority of the episode. We're going to be talking about this because I haven't read it. There's a book I want to read, and I want to give it the proper time. And I feel like most of the time we're going to be talking about this. So let's get into it.
So settle in, motherfuckers.
It's going to be a broader thing. We're going to kind of be talking about the episodes we've already talked about and kind of how we feel about the season, what we think about this episode. So before we get
Real
into
quick,
it,
I just wanted to say spoilers. Like if you haven't
we're just going
seen
to go
it,
right into it.
because we don't have a sounder really anymore. So
what's the point? What's the point in not talking about spoilers? It's the finale.
well, no, we could do what were our expectations going into the finale. Okay, let's do that. So no spoilers yet.
Okay.
But we will give you a big warning when it's
Sitting
time
here
to turn, pause it. I
Yeah.
know. So going into the finale, obviously we know that he's not dead. Like he got winged in the shoulder. So that's what I'm thinking about. I'm not thinking about anything other than that. And I'm thinking about how they're going to wrap it up in such a way that makes me hunger for the next season, but also gives me closure to this one. I think they did a really good job of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really visceral and bloody.
A
And
lot
gory.
gorier than I expected. Yeah, I think,
and scarier than I expected because of what's going on in this country right now.
and I'm glad that they were smart to state that, yes, we are going to split this into 2 seasons. Because had this just been it and I would not know of another season, I would be like, well, that ending was bad. But I really like how it's setting up the next season.
Right.
And I think for me,
Yeah.
given what happens in this episode, I think I'm dead on that. I think Matt's going to have to kill Kingpin.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
I feel like that's what they're setting up for the next season. So,
well, you've said that
overall,
before, though.
in terms of expectations, I think it met my expectations. I think it was really. I go back to Moon Knight a lot, and I think about how much we enjoyed that show and how we both felt they kind of fumbled that finale, and how this show, at times, kind of a little bit shaky, but I think overall was pretty satisfying, and I think this episode is satisfying because it's The Empire Strikes Back.
Mhm.
Like, this is what this ending is. We have to get him as low as we can, as hard as it has to be for him and to lead his army, his revolution to take back the city. And, like, yeah.
So that's our spoiler-free expectation review.
Now let's get into it.
So if you
Where do we wanna
don't want to
start?
be spoiled, pause it now and then come back to the podcast.
So,
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I liked.
where do you want to go? Where do you want to just? What? I was going to start
Overall season, I was very pleased with it. I
Yeah.
don't think like there wasn't any real filler episodes or
I mean, episode 5 still had its purpose.
we talked about this before, how the Netflix shows seem to have a lot of filler time. Like they didn't need that many episodes in each season, right?
Yeah, 13 episodes. And I think now we're at a point where they understand 8 or 9 episodes, 8 to 10 episodes is pretty solid.
I think this is one of the better Disney Plus shows as far as making the best use of its time, and there's not a lot of filler in this season.
And
It's almost all
Yeah.
either revelation or violence and action,
and
and it was kind of awesome.
it has the benefit that the other Disney Plus shows don't have, where it has established as a TV show first and was always a TV show. And so having that understanding of the episodic nature of Daredevil, that works to the show's advantage because it's still everything, fell into place. Even when we thought things were kind of going away that we were like, why is it doing that? It still works back into it. And it
Having said that, got to get more Bullseye next season. More Bullseye.
I told you this. He was sequel bait, and I told you he was sequel bait. I thought there was going to be some confrontation in this episode, so I was a little disappointed by that.
No.
I thought there was going to be something, but
Another prediction that we
Whatever,
had,
he'll be
I
in
think it was
season
after
2.
after we saw episode 1 or I can't remember, but we both made a prediction. It was maybe after the episode that Frank Castle was in.
yeah, episode 4.
But we both made a prediction that I said that he wasn't going to show up again until the very end of the season, and then season 2 was going to be more for him. What did you say? That you thought he was going to be more of a...
I thought it would be more in the season, so we were both kind of right because he is a part of it. He gets a lot of time in this episode.
You're right in the respect that he's a huge part of this episode, this finale.
He is and this is what I'm saying, and it made sense to me because in my head I'm thinking, as this is happening, I am thinking there is no way they're going to narratively tie these ends off because they can't, because they have to have another season. Because I'm thinking there's too much conflict in this episode to get resolved because you have Matt and Punisher having conflict. And then you have the task force.
The two of them
then
have
you
conflict
have
with the task
the
force.
fists doing the city-state shit, doing the blackout of the entire city. And all of this. And I love... And we're going to keep bouncing around. But what I love in this episode, after we've had the Daredevil Punisher team up, after we've had all this stuff, he's going to go back in to save Frank. And he's going to go in there and fight. And she's like, Karen talks him out of it, which she shows up, by the way. Which point.
Also, from what we saw at the very end of the episode, do you think Frank needs help?
But I'll get to the point real fast because we'll go back a little bit. But the thing that I loved about this was the bait and switch of this. Where this show is like, hold on. You're going to get this, and this is going to happen, but we got to build to this because we're doing something here where it is going to be where Matt is just going to have to come out and be like, I'm Daredevil, and being Daredevil... Man, I just keep jumping around.
I'm Daredevil.
So, let's get to the main shit we liked. Daredevil sneaks out of the hospital after the blackout because they try to assassinate him with Buck.
Look, the whole action sequence between him and
Frank.
Frank and the cops at the beginning.
Oh, so good. So, yeah, he shows up and...
You're a wall-to-wall asshole,
Yeah.
you know that?
Wall-to-wall asshole. And, yeah, you and I were talking, it was sitting there enjoying it so much. And, like, again, it's the same when Vincent D'Onofrio's on screen, when Charlie Cox and John Barenthal, when those guys, they just fucking get these characters. They've been these characters for so long, you know, in some form. And you just know they get it. And when he comes in, when he walks into the apartment, the subtlety of it was Charlie Cox smirks inside, like, I can't, and then he sits down because he already knows he's in the room. And he just goes, I can't believe you're fucking here. And like, kind of situation.
I got an issue.
Don't. This whole, how could he have walked from the hospital to his apartment with no shoes? Is that what you're going to say?
No.
Because I thought that.
Wow.
I did, and I said, shut up,
Well,
Punisher's on
at the end,
screen.
they punch him in the fucking head like almost like 20 times or something. It's like he's dead. No, you're fine. Look. Say what you want about adaptations of your favorite characters. Punisher is not one of my favorite characters. He's been adapted many times. Actually, this is like the 4th time. I believe that the best acted Punisher was Ray Winston in the
Over Thomas
War Journal.
Jane?
War Journal. What?
Over Thomas Jane?
Yeah.
Are you talking about Thomas? You're talking about Punisher Warzone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun
movie.
The reason why I think he was the best is because he is pretty much just he is methodical. Bernthal taps into this emotional side of the character that isn't, to me, very present all the time. In fact, the Jason Aaron series,
yeah.
he is a lot more emotional than I remember him. I grew up with when I was growing up, you know, in the late 80s, early 90s, that's when they first had a Punisher comic book, and then they followed that up with War Journal, and then they even published a comic book. I can't remember. I think it was, but it was all schematics of his guns.
Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't even a comic book. It was just like, and it sold like fucking hotcakes because the name Punisher was on it. You know.
Yeah.
But
Frankencastle?
Generally, he's just he you know, when he's, and maybe these are two different, maybe because they involve cops, you know, dirty cops or not, they're still cops. Maybe that's why. But these two moments, and maybe it's because of the ridiculousness of the situations. But when he's all grunting, like it, you know, he's trying to lose. Seems like he's losing control. Like that's not really, to me, the Punisher. The Punisher generally wouldn't leave himself open to get caught. He would already have sussed out that this was a trap.
But this is in line. Yeah, but this is in line with the version they've made of him.
Fair.
Because he does the same thing in season 2.
Okay.
In the prison.
Oh,
remember?
fair. Well, I guess so. And that's a
and
pretty
I get what
fucking
you
great
I get
scene.
what you're saying, and I think that's what I mean. Is why I thought before the end of this episode, I thought the Marvel special presentation was going to be the Fists of the Hand stuff that Jason Aaron did, because I'm like, okay, he's clearly like berserking out. Like maybe they're playing into something with that, like, because I agree with you. He seemed a little bit more extreme than he usually is, and maybe that's just how they're portraying him, and it is in line with how he is portrayed, you know, before this. But holy shit, Barenthal and Cox are so good in this, and I know his name, and you 12-year-old.
No, I was talking about the wall-to-wall asshole.
Oh, I thought you were because I was laughing about Cox. Anyway,
who doesn't laugh?
I like how I
about
projected
Cox?
my 12-year-old humor on you. But
Dude,
that whole exchange even when he finally suits up because he's like, okay, they're coming to us, and Punisher says, I'm here to do I promise someone I'd get you out.
You
So
gonna
I'm-
do it with your ass hanging out?
Yeah, he's like, all right. And so he just tells to suit up. And when they're fighting, and Frank is just murdering these fuckers, and Daredevil's just fighting, not trying to kill people. He's still, but I don't know, man. He grabbed a dude by the throat and threw him into the wall, and his head kind of just blat on the wall. But anyway, that whole sequence was awesome. And my favorite part was when the guy that shot White Tiger's there, and he has a moment to kill him, and he goes, no, you're not worth it. You're not worth it. And that whole exchange, Frank just goes, what about him? Is he worth it? Shoots a guy. What about him? Is he worth it? And he shoots him. And he's like, that moment where they
Headshots.
break, when he just goes, you're a fucking liability, Frank, because you always do this. And like the buddy cop shit of him, I need it more in the next season because they're so good together. The chemistry is crazy.
That
was one of my favorites.
The big tension dynamic between the Punisher and Daredevil in the comics and they do a great job of this in the show, of course, is the fact that Punisher has no qualms about taking lives, and Daredevil is wrapped up in Catholic guilt.
And he valued. Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, he even stood in front of fucking Fisk.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a great dynamic because I mean, it's not because it's violent, it's horrible, but Punisher Frank is certainly willing to shoot a couple people in the head to prove a point. What about these two? I don't.
It's the fun
I'm
thing.
Punisher, dude. I don't care.
It's like a, I would say.
These are fucking slapping right now. Do you know what I mean? These Bayou Blaze are kicking my ass.
What I love about that, and then I love about how paying it off later in the episode was when after that whole sequence in that moment, like Matt has a realization of like, Punisher is right. I wanted to kill Bullseye. I want to kill Fisk. Like, he's right. And he goes, it was never a mask. And it's like that great, I know it's kind of a trope in the genre, but it's still like, that's the beauty of it. When it's written I still enjoy it. Like, where he just pretty much confesses to her, like, I've always been this violent person. And I've been this angry. And again, people being right. Heather was right. He never grew up properly because he's still that little angry boy. You know,
think she's gonna? Do you think they're gonna move her into Typhoid Mary?
You still convinced of that because of her shaking hands with Fisk at the end of it?
No, I don't know.
So we get the grand scheme. Oh yeah, and the other scene that you're talking about, when Punisher goes berserk and goes to the Red Hook port because they find out the Red Hook port is in.
No, he's got a police scanner and he hears them.
Yeah, I know, but
so.
the scene, in the scene before that, we find out that the Red Hook thing is where the Fisks were doing their business because it's like, what's the term?
It's a
for
free
it?
port.
Yeah, it's a free port and international waters and all that. But that's how they're doing it, and then you find out they're trying to build their own city-state. They're literally trying to throw their opposition in jail in their little, and that's where we get the big reveal of where Fisk was going this whole season with Adam, and I was like, holy shit, we're going there. Oh. So, I think we are going the route of the City Without Fear story, because he says that at the end, so I think they're definitely lining that up to be with that storyline. I'm not familiar with it, I don't think.
City Without Fear?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I don't know.
Isn't that what? Yeah, there's something about him wearing the black suit in that. But no, that's the one when he's the leader of the Hand. I can't remember. But I just gotta say, like, you tend to forget because, like we're talking about earlier, when you have a real TV show that is treated like a TV show. Because I'm sitting there thinking, like, where the fuck is the resolution on this? And then like, come on, more of this. And then that thought drains away, and I'm like, there's another season. There's another season, and we got to keep these storylines going.
There's no reason to worry.
The violence was kind of insane. Like Punisher just ripping a dude's throat out and just stabbing him.
A lot of violent. And let's not even, I mean, look, season 1, like the original Daredevil.
Chopped a dude's head off.
With a car door.
Yeah.
So if you've
it's
watched
always
the
been
show,
there.
but this was a lot more open. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It was
props.
They definitely hired
Was
some.
it practical? Because it looked practical.
It looked practical to me.
And props to them.
That
was visceral.
When he was squeezing it right before,
Let's set it up.
that
So-
looked CGI a little bit. Like they took his head.
At this point in the
Because you
story,
can't really squeeze a guy's head like that.
at this point in the story, Fisk's main PR person is like, "We can't do this. This is too far." And then at this point, he's like, "Round up the people that don't fully agree with what we want and send them home." And that's when she's confronted by the police captain. And he's still like, "This is crazy. You are a sane person. Help me." We find out later she was recording the whole thing and gave it to Fisk. So they go to his little port.
She's just trying to survive.
Yeah, but she should know, because she's smart, that it doesn't matter. Fisk is gonna. Yes, Fisk appreciates loyalty, but what does it take? She's gonna look at something funny or say something about Vanessa did, and he's gonna fucking pop her skull too. You can't trust him.
That's why I'm not saying that she's a hero.
No, I know. You agree with me when I said she's a fucking coward. When we were watching it, I was like, this shit.
So he shows up in this area, and of
then-
course it's all covered in plastic.
He gets picked up by a cop that has a fucking Punisher tattoo, so he knows what's gonna happen. I'm pretty sure he already knew.
I think Luke will be a key guy next season. Because he said at one point, he's like, I'm just trying to survive.
Yeah.
And when he did that to the commissioner,
You saw his face.
He
His
clearly was like, oh my God.
The camera was more focused on his reaction, yeah. But yeah, so he takes his head and crushes his skull and like twists it, and his jaw is like it is violent. It is visceral. And I know I've said that a few times, and it looked mostly practical, and I think the beauty of that scene was how practical and realistic it looked and how grotesque it was. And I gotta say that maybe this was a D'Onofrio choice, maybe this was director choice, but in that shocking moment, there's still a little bit of levity, because he just like how he takes the thing out to wipe his hands and like how he like plucks it. Like there's a little bit of humor there to kind of lift the levity, because it's a fucking gnarly sequence.
Well, the moment at the very end of the movie of the show,
out of shock.
When he's just got this grin on his face, like,
Congratulations. I've never been so mad at a happy couple in my life, dude. When they're doing the slow walk with the music, and Matt is trying to like build up of like how we're gonna take back the city, and you see all of the people that they have in these fucking cages in their little
the
port.
swordsman.
And the whole time I'm thinking this too. Same with the sequence where Punisher gets captured by the task force. Same thing. What a bunch of fucking dorks. What a bunch of fucking losers. The Fists are such whiny little bitches that they can't handle any opposition to their vision, and if you disagree, they lock you up. It sounds like someone that's running our
Sounds
country.
like fucking Donald fucking Trump, maybe.
I hate it.
A piece of shit who has made a deal with a foreign country to put anybody he wants from America into this What the fuck?
So anyway, it was nice having the
so,
show. And,
they're filming season 2
there's
right
a-
now, so anytime now.
There's a sniper beam pointed at. So yeah, let's kind of talk about this, because a long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, I accepted the fact that it's just like comic books, where you have to think, look, it is Daredevil's show, but at the same time, if they're gonna black out New York for that long, Doctor Strange ain't doing anything. Captain America ain't
now,
doing
maybe
anything.
he's off helping with the excursion, or what is it called?
I understand. Well, no, technically he's with Charlie's the Clea in that dimension. Yeah, technically. But I'm just saying, like, I get that it's New York City, but it's still America. Wouldn't Captain America step in? Or are we still? Where are we at in the timeline with this? Is Red Hulk a problem right now?
That is where I'm having issues with the show at all. These are fucking okay.
Stop eating chips.
I'm putting them away. That is the only like issue I have. Is we've talked about this before. Remember, I was like, "What are we doing? Like, how are we in the MCU? Actually, you know, I mean, we are, yeah, but I haven't seen any
Jeez.
outside characters from.
Take
Can
a
we
burp.
just do it in the
Yeah,
mic?
every time you say it, I want to burp. So
I haven't seen. Look,
What?
so far,
anyway,
so far,
What?
every time you do
we've seen Daredevil out in the wider MCU.
I'm not gonna do it. I almost did it.
We have, right? We've seen him in She-Hulk. We've seen him in No Way Home.
Yes.
We've seen him out in other places.
And there's rumors he might be in Secret Wars
right.
in some
But
capacity.
have we seen one? Well, okay, Swordsman is technically from the Hawkeye show.
I don't think. Yeah. Other than that, I don't remember a grander. Because again, you probably have to think they can't write anything with that because they're like, we don't fucking know what's gonna happen, and we're just trying to focus. And that's what we're saying is like, this is why it has to get blown up because you have to justify narratively now why the fuck nobody in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I understand there's this dead celestial shit we got to deal with, and there's this multiverse over
Right.
here, but Spider-Man still exists, right? Why isn't he thinking like what it blacked out New York for however many hours?
First of all, I mean, Wilson Fisk is widely known in the MCU as the Kingpin. So, I mean, you'd think that there'd be heroes watching him all the time and like, okay, well, he's mayor of New York. We all kind of got to stay home and help.
And that's what I mean. It's a constant thing that I have to try and fight with.
Right.
Where it's like, well, what do we... So, I appreciate saying it is tangentially related to what the grander scheme.
Sure.
But it's just... This is always my issue with putting everything in New York in the Marvel Universe. And that's what I do appreciate about DC, where they actually be like, okay, Batman's in Gotham, Superman's in Metropolis, Wonder Woman's over here. Like they actually spread them out. Because when you all put them based in New York,
Yes.
even with the outer world shit, like you said, someone's going to stop Fisk with superpowers. You drop a Hulk in there.
Right? I mean,
A scroll.
somebody
Throw a scroll to kill him. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, where the fucking right? Yeah. So
it's like as a show, but that is not the show's fault. That's not the show's fault.
no.
I want to be clear. That is the problem that I think Marvel and Disney are beginning to understand. When it's this fucking big, you're gonna run into these problems, and it's the same thing. At some point, you just kind of accept it in the comic books because it's it is what it is.
yes.
But like going forward, I'm excited that I don't know what's going to happen in season 2. I have no clue what they're going to do, and I'm into that. And I love this. I think, like you talked about, on a grander scheme of things, like all things considered, with everything that we heard about this show,
Yes.
where how it didn't have Deborah Ann Woll and it didn't have Foggy involved, and it was a continuation, but not dealing with that stuff, and it is, but it isn't, and then to have that complete reboot, stop everything, we're starting over. They
Yes.
kept one. By the way, I told you that episode 5 was the one that they saved from before they creatively reboot everything. They kept the bank heist is the only one that stayed.
Huh.
Everything else got rewritten and changed. All of that to sit here and be like, actually, that was a really solid season, and I really, really enjoy it. I really loved it.
So apparently,
Overall.
I'm just reading this, and the events of Daredevil Born Again are contemporaneous with Captain America: Brave New World and depict the MCU's present.
So my guess is this was happening around the time that time out. That makes sense. If they're gonna say in the timeline this
Yes.
is where this happens,
Right.
because at that point in time,
Well, fucking Spider-Man's around.
Well, no, but Tyler, in that point in time, it could either be the point where the United States and Japan was fighting over the Celestial, or it could be when Red Hulk shows up. So then, fine, you can justify nobody helping, but Spider-Man's still around, and Doctor Strange is another dimension. Okay, sure. But what the fuck is Hawkeye
But
doing?
is it Wong? Is it Wong?
What's Echo doing? What's Hawkeye doing? They know Kingpin. Are they going to show up in next season? Maybe they will. I'm just saying, there's a lot of hanging threads there.
If Hawkeye knew about Wilson Fisk and the big guy, then fucking S.H.I.E.L.D. fucking knew about him. Well, fucking Nick Fury knows about him. Well, I got
You've got so many heroes at this point.
that is literally, I get it that there are times in like even in Marvel comics where the like a solo hero's book, right? And you're doing all this stuff and maybe he's in a team book too. And you have to explain, like, where does his book take place in relation to the team book?
Yeah.
And it's a fucking nightmare. So I will grant them grace every time because I get it, right?
Yeah.
But if you are planning this shit out that far ahead, you should have some narrative fucking checkpoints. Just like a goddamn video game, dude. Just like, right? Am I wrong? You should have narrative fucking checkpoints and know that every fucking project that comes out around this time has got to reference this narrative checkpoint, or else everybody will be like, I don't know.
Put something on the TV about the fight with the Celestial
Thank
or
you.
the
Yes.
or the Red Hulk.
Yes.
Just something so we know where we're
in the
at.
background or yes. That's exactly what I'm
That's
talking
what I
about.
agree,
You know what I mean?
100%, yeah.
Like, obviously you're playing a video game. You don't have to fucking start over all the time. So thank God we have save points, right? So that is what these are going to be. They're narrative save points. You know where we are on the timeline, and you can tell everybody that's making a project in 2027, well, these are the narrative save points we have. You have to mention them or you have to be involved in them. Fucking figure it out, Feige. Well, we're sitting over here making no money and giving you all these great ways to fix the MCU.
We've been doing this show for almost 4 years, right?
Yeah, and he still isn't listening.
This whole entire time, we have been saying, like, we've still enjoyed some things, we still haven't liked some things, whatever. But this whole entire time, we're just like, this is what happens when you keep trying to go forward after something like Endgame.
Yes.
Because Endgame was such a gigantic, impactful, crazy, crossover, ambitious thing that is never going to be topped.
No.
I don't care how much they throw at Doomsday, it's not going to be topped.
Yeah.
And especially in this economy. And
especially in this economy.
you and I are making
Jesus.
business decisions about going to see fucking Thunderbolts, being like, could this be a tax write-off? Because that's how fucking expensive it is to go to a goddamn movie theater nowadays. And
I've never smuggled
Here's my
popcorn into a movie
guess-
theater in my butthole before, but I might try during Thunderbolts.
I guess for me, at the end of the day, it what drives me all over the place with this. Marvel proved that at some scale, a shared universe could be done.
Yes.
But the problem is when you keep treating movies as television, this is what they are. We just saw this Captain America season. We're going to go see the Thunderbolts season. We've already watched the Daredevil season. It's all TV. Again, the problem with that is movies are designed to have a definitive end. Unless you're setting something up for a sequel, most of the time you're going to have a definitive end, or you're going to leave something a little nibble there to, like, maybe the story continues at some point. But when you're constantly being like, well, you like this, but what about the next thing? And the next thing? And the next thing? You know what I mean? And it hurts. And for me, the creative thing is like, what... You got to work on rails, and I see that's why a lot of creators don't want to work with Marvel sometimes. Is because you have to work in this thing.
You have to work in this bubble that is largely controlled. I just
go back to what we were doing before and just make your own fucking movies. I'm sorry. Can I just say
you're
this?
right. You're right.
Can we just break it up and leave it? Like, we did it. It was fun. It was incredible. I cried my eyes out.
If you want to start over again, go for it.
But
you
just
can start
make
over
fucking
again. I don't
movies,
care.
man.
Yeah.
Stop. And I know that I'm excited to see what James Gunn can do with DC, and like we're finally going to actually see some interconnectivity with DC. Mm-hmm. But even then, they don't even know what the fuck they're doing because they're talking about Swamp Thing, and I'm like, we don't even have a fucking Batman movie. How do we have Swamp Thing? That's an Elseworlds movie.
Yes.
Why is that in the DCU?
Yes.
I'm sorry I had a mental breakdown there, but it's like that's
No. I
spent
fucking agree, dude.
Because we spent so much time on this Daredevil show talking about this because I'm trying to figure out how you can justify all this shit that Kingpin is. I know it's happening in real life.
Yeah.
I know, but real life, we don't have a fucking Hulk. We don't have a Norse god to come down and deal with this shit.
No.
But that does. I'm confused. And maybe the whole point is they're all scattered and they come together for Doomsday. I don't know.
Well,
But at least
if it's contemporaneous with Thunderbolts as well, then what's going to happen is...
And Bucky's going to be a congressman? What is that? What is that? I don't know. I want to be I want to be clear. I enjoyed this show, but that's what I mean. I'm getting frustrated to a point where I'm like, I can't even fully enjoy this Daredevil show because the MCU rotted my fucking brain to make it where like, well, where is this in the timeline? Just cause then why wouldn't it? And it takes away my enjoyment. So my hope is that with Secret Wars, guess what? We already said multiverses. If they want to do something with that, they can. But guess what? None of it matters anymore. The sacred timeline's obliterated because it doesn't matter. Continuity, I don't know, man. It's kind of a broader discussion on the MCU, but it's like because Thunderbolts is coming up not that long after this, and I think MCU is building back a lot of goodwill with fans because I think there are we've said this a million times. There are chuds in bad faith, and there are people like us that legitimately love this stuff and get frustrated, like I was just now with like how everything's going.
Yeah, take a chill pill, bruh.
You said you agree with me, right?
I do.
I'm sorry.
No,
sorry I ranted
trust
about
me,
it. But
I've gotten way more off than that. No, I
think this will build a lot of goodwill for people.
I absolutely agree with you. And DC, like, the more I see about the DCU under James Gunn and stuff, the more I think you don't really know what you're doing, do you? If it doesn't have a script, it doesn't have a green light. That's not really reassuring to me. Especially when I know that guy has a script for fucking Plastic Man and James Gunn hasn't greenlit that.
Did I say Swamp Thing earlier, by the way?
Yeah.
I meant Clayface. The Clayface movie without a Batman movie. And it's like, it's not going to be that Clayface. Then why the fuck?
What the fuck are you doing then,
Make
dude?
another movie and title it something else and make it
or
somewhere
make
else?
a fucking TV show on goddamn Max or something, motherfucker. Like, I don't... What? Yeah, exactly.
Don't
You're
make
like,
Swamp... By the way, don't make Swamp Thing a movie.
No.
Make it a show.
Yes,
Give James say James Mangold, do whatever the fuck you want. We'll put it on Max. Do that. Don't make it a movie. That should be a show. Save the movie for Batman and Superman and all this other stuff. Clayface, put it on Max.
At this point,
make a whole DC horror section that
I
they're already
gotta
doing.
believe that movie theaters are the only thing propping up this shit economy. Because why the fuck else are people still trying to get people to go to movie theaters? At this point, honestly, you can get everything you want at home. You can get movie theaters at home, or movie theater movies at home. You know?
Well, I joked about it earlier, but you and I are gonna go see Thunderbolts, and
of course, that's a rare time to go because I still feel like going to the theater is a big deal.
I plan to go to the movies 3 times this summer.
Yes,
that's Thunderbolts. That's Superman.
Wait.
That's Thunderbolts.
What?
That's Superman.
What?
And that is Fantastic Four.
What?
That's it. That's all I
No
plan
other
to see.
movies this year. But
Probably.
I can't think of any.
By the way, we did get an update. Peacemaker, August 21st, I believe, on Max.
I don't know if I can watch John Cena.
Why?
He's fucking heel turn, man. I don't know.
Yeah, he ripped my heart out, dude.
Fuck.
I gotta say, my favorite thing about
Hey, John.
Before we get
my
there,
feelings for you.
You can't see him,
Yeah,
dude. I'm
'cause
talking
they're
to
gone.
I'm talking to a
'Cause
chair
they're fucking
now.
Gone, dude.
God, because there's
They're
nobody in that chair.
fucking gone, Cena.
No, we're doing what I planned
Broke
anyway.
my
I
heart.
wanted to kind of spin out of Daredevil and talk about what we're seeing coming forward, and kind of like what we want from the MCU. Not what we want, but what we could see. Because Thunderbolts is coming out in a couple weeks, I don't. This is the problem again when these entertainment companies are publicly traded because they have to announce their casting things to bump their stock.
Yes.
So you and I talked about it. Does it spoil Thunderbolts? I'm like, no, I don't think so. We always thought
it could be flashbacks.
But this is what I'm talking about, Tyler, and this is why people are getting Marvel fatigue and people are getting frustrated. Is it after Captain America? Is it during Captain America?
What, Doomsday?
Thunderbolts.
Oh, yeah, exactly. We don't
Where's
know.
that? Did Bucky stop and talk to Sam? Be like, hey man, how's it going? Hey, I'm gonna help you with your Captain America problems. Motivational speech. Gotta go. And then hop on to fucking the set of Thunderbolts.
Even worse.
Because they were filming at the same time.
Even worse. Sebastian Stan, or no, not him. Winter Soldier Bucky
Yeah.
is not a congressman in Captain America yet.
Is
But
he in
by
Thunderbolts?
the time of Thunderbolts, he is.
Okay, so then I'm assuming it's after that. Like, okay, maybe we're going here. But regardless,
So
I am going.
they can't really take place in February and then May, because there has to be,
yeah.
unless it was a special election, which very possibly could have been.
Yeah, it would have had to
elections are in
been because they
November.
already had the election. It was like
Unless you're telling me that Captain America takes place last fall.
no, but it was like
That's the only
no.
way
The big
it
thing was it
works.
was 100 days into his election.
I don't know.
Ross's election. He said, "This is my first 100 days. This
Well,
defines the presidency."
there you fucking go then, don't we? Must have been a special election.
I don't. God damn it!
Why? I just want to enjoy the goddamn movie.
Stop making me do math and
get out a
physics
calendar
and shit.
and an abacus and figure out which way the sun was moving.
Do you know what?
On a Sunday.
Can I just say something? I recently, because I've been playing so much Marvel Rivals and I'm a Thor main. Hate me if you want.
Your fault, man.
I love playing as Thor, and I'm
It's
like,
your
you know what?
fucking fault.
I got Disney Plus. I'm gonna go back and watch the Thor movies. As
Oh.
boring as we claim they are,
Sure, okay.
I'm gonna go back and at least watch some Phase 1 shit. So I went back and recently watched the first Thor. It's still an enjoyable movie.
Of course.
I think he's not. I think the whole section of him on Earth runs a little long. Where it's like, come on, let's get to the hammer
Yeah.
fashion.
Let's get
But
to the
when he-
fucking
The destroyer when he fights
yeah.
it. That's fun. So yeah, that movie's still enjoyable. The first Avengers, I watched it again recently. Still a fun movie.
Great.
Ashley asked me, he goes, was it always this cheesy, like dialogue? I go, absolutely. This is a Joss Whedon movie. Absolutely, it was that. But then it was like enjoyable. And you know why it was enjoyable? Because yes, it was interconnected. But again, the scale was so much different. Captain America's stuff happened in World War II. Iron Man shows up. Iron Man is the nexus point. He shows up and he has his power armor. But the only reason all this happens is because of the Thor movie that is taking place directly before Avengers. And yeah, they don't really resolve the whole Rainbow Bridge from that first Thor movie. It's not perfect because he just shows up. They both just show up. You know, Loki's makes sense because he was with the aliens. But like, why is Thor there? I don't know. But
Doesn't matter.
even still, all of that can seem complicated at the time, but compared to now, it was better because it was so big but yet so small. Like the Battle for New York is this crazy epic fight scene, but it I don't know, man. It's just It's just it was they were able to do it and it was great while it lasted, but I'm sorry. I just don't see it going anywhere.
It's a combination of stockholders being greedy. It's a combination of technology getting to the point where you can make these movies quicker and cheaper than you could back 10 years ago or 15 years ago.
And they don't have unions for visual effects workers, so they could grind them to dust if they needed to.
Fair,
to get,
and you know, there's different, like Georgia, I think was
cheaper.
Was just kind of starting out being a big hub.
A lot
and now
of them
it's
shoot overseas. Yeah.
There's a combination of all those things, but really what it boils down to is some asshole in a room was like, wait a second, how much did we make on this one? What if we have 4 movies and 3 shows a year? Extrapolate this exact number, and this is how much we're going to make every year. And they didn't think about the fact at all about creatively whether it would work or any of that shit. How many movies did they have the most they had out one year? 4?
Oh, God.
I can't remember. It's got to be. They've had 3. This year they have 3.
So ever since Phase 1,
last year they had only Deadpool.
It started with Captain Marvel or Captain America and Thor. So those 2 movies both came out in 2011.
Yes.
And then Avengers came out in
lived in
20.
Ohio.
And then after that, it was every fucking year.
Okay.
There was a Marvel movie.
Okay.
So then it was 2013 was Iron Man 2, but it was also Thor: The Dark World. They were still doing it 2 at a time, but they were spacing it out like 6 months apiece.
Yeah, like
so they can
one
get the
in
box
yep.
office run of one and
Yeah.
get the DVD sales.
But then they were like, you know what we could do is we could get the early season and then the Christmas season and then have a tentpole, and there's 3.
and that's the thing.
Some fuckface, not even thinking about it.
Leading up to Endgame, it was working because everything they were doing leading up to that was everything was lining up and making sense, and it was working.
And they were making money.
And now you can tell they didn't plan for anything. It just frustrates me. It's like, how can you not plan to? Okay, think of this as this. Yes, it should have stopped, but it won't because it made $1 billion fucking dollars.
Yeah.
So they're like, how do we keep doing
you-
it? But why
yeah.
didn't you think at this point, when we get to Infinity War and Endgame, that was all planned out, but nobody said, hey, after Endgame,
Right.
when this makes as much money as it will, what are we going to do next? Instead, it was just throw things at the wall, and we got some cool things out of it. But there's, I don't know. We've gone back and forth on this forever of like, there wasn't really much of a plan in Phase 1, and you could tell that, but then they managed to make it work. And is Doomsday going to do that? I don't know. There's 20,000 actors in that movie.
I don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand why you don't. If at this point of reboots, in this stage of reboots and everything, and retconning and prequels and all this other shit, right? I don't understand why. Just you got to somehow be able to make your. Nobody wants to make their property like, okay, I'm going to make it open to retconning or whatever, so it doesn't seem so weird when they inevitably do the prequel. But I mean, maybe that's what we should be doing as creators. Is making it so open to retconning, but then the original work doesn't fucking matter, dude.
Yeah.
When you take the original Star Wars and you don't see any of the prequels because they don't fucking exist. Now, granted, I think the prequels got a bad rap, and I think they're way better than people remember. Dude, the fucking Mustafar battle is still fucking top notch, dude. That's badass. When they're fucking having that final battle, that's badass, dude.
All right, well, I know it's coming
point
off.
is-
I know it's coming off negative too, and I want to be clear that
Right.
I'll let you finish your thing.
Well, yeah. The point is that like Star Wars is very different. The very original Star Wars is very different if you don't know anything about that stuff.
Yeah, clearly there's George's Star Wars and there's Disney Star Wars. For sure.
Right, and then we talk about the sequel part trilogy.
People forget that those Phase 1 movies were Paramount for a while before they established Marvel Studios.
Yes.
Like as its own brand.
Yeah,
for Disney.
and again, like, don't forget that the whole Samuel L. Jackson cameo was a joke to start.
Yeah.
What's his name?
They literally build off that one.
What's
scene.
his name? Shit, the director. God damn it, he's an actor. I can't think of his
Jon
name.
Favreau.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, he's been in like a ton of movies that I love. Jon Favreau, if I remember correctly, the story was just like, hey, let's do this as a lark, because he's a huge Marvel fan and whatnot.
Yeah.
And he was like, let's just do this as for fun.
And then he's like, he signed a 9-movie deal.
Yeah. Fucking Samuel L. Jackson will do anything for money, apparently.
So I want to be clear, like how I'm going to start. I am going to, like you had to do like a little bit of a reset and just try and look at Thunderbolts itself as a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And not, even though it's going to do it, because the movie, and that's the problem with Marvel, because they themselves have to remind you, hey, there's other stuff going on right now.
What did we do as soon as the credits started rolling? Is there an end credits
Yeah.
thing? How many of them?
Yeah.
Sorry,
And I know,
continue.
like, just the nature of it, of course, it's going to have the geopolitical things, and then it's obviously going to be somehow tied with Captain America, and I'm okay with that, because that's kind of the nature of what it's a government team. It's a Black Ops team.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think it's by itself is going to be a fun movie. Like everything that I've seen about it makes me into it. I think it's going to be a blast.
I'm excited about it because I like a lot of the characters and the actors playing those characters.
And this movie has a benefit of these characters already playing the roles.
Yep.
We already kind of have this establishment of Black Widow, Florence Yelena, and
Yelena
Red
Belova.
Guardian. And, like, I love even in the trailer of him being like, that's the Winter Soldier. Like, being excited because, of course, the Winter Soldier would be a hero to this Russian, you know.
Of course.
And I can't wait to see Julia Louis-Dreyfus and what she's going to do with this team. And fucking Wyatt Russell.
U.S. agent.
I still can't get over that. He's like, yeah, I'm just glad that this helmet doesn't look like a penis. Because he said the Captain America helmet did look like the tip of a penis. I'm like,
Yeah, I don't know.
if you Because the helmet dips at the back. So, I mean, come on. All right,
I
take
don't
your
see
pants
it.
off.
What? Are we on?
We're on.
How's it going? So you just read Cold Day in Hell 1 of 3. I figured, you never get enough of those old man books. So
We
let's,
just had a complaint not that long ago.
before we talk about
the
this,
trope.
because I want to talk about it, because we talked about how we didn't like Power Man Timeless. Now, Power Man Timeless, to me, if you give me Power Man in this story, I like it.
Yeah.
The reason why I don't really like the Power Man Timeless story is because it's, again, you're getting the powers of the Hulk and who else? Like Sentry, like
Yeah, it's
two
three
big strong
different
guys.
characters.
You're already big and strong. Like, what are you
You
talking
got
about? You know,
unbreakable skin, and
Yeah,
you got the strength of the Hulk.
and then
the
yeah.
Fist of Iron. Yeah, it's. Whereas this now,
Now you know they're gonna try and bring this Daredevil into the Marvel continuity because they're dicks.
this looks very similar to Spider-Man Reign, because I think it's the same artist.
It's McNiven did Old Man Logan.
And again, I think he did Spider-Man Reign. I think he
Very,
just has a
very-
knack for drawing old superheroes.
Very notes of Frank
yes,
Miller in this book for
if
sure.
you want to be derivative, yes, it is an old man Daredevil story. But it's doing some things differently, and I do enjoy it. I think when I came going into this, yeah, it was the kind of thing of like old man tropes. But it's the same thing I say about anything that we're like, I'm tired of the multiverse stuff, or I'm tired of this story or that story. If it's told well, you don't really care about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is a good example. I think this is a really fun book. Charles Soule,
Soul, I think.
he's also doing the fucking Eddie Brock Carnage book, isn't he?
He might be. Yeah.
I'm just saying, I'm digging this dude's shit, is what I'm saying.
So it starts off in Daredevil. Matt Murdock is at the cemetery, and he's telling Wilson Fisk, who's dead, at his gravesite.
You think it's like this nice, a loved one, and it's Fisk.
And he's just like, hey, man, just to let you know, they asked me if I wanted to fight again. I said no. So, and he's talking about a war, and then they show him going into the city, and it's an awful city. There's a big billboard, support your heroes overseas, buy war crypto bonds. They talk about the DBs.
Yeah.
Now, we'll get to that.
Because they don't really ever say what it is.
Right, but I have a theory.
Or who they are.
So they're in he gets on the ferry, and it's awful in there, and shit just sucks. And he goes up onto the top, and he has this shitty.
By the way, he mentions a war.
Yes.
Says he
yeah,
was,
I said that.
Said he, and he said he didn't have his. Now he doesn't have his powers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've said it, yeah.
He's just old.
Damn DBs. And so they're going, and they go and they see like what Brooklyn Bridge, I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
But it's just broken. It says never surrender, never forget.
Yeah. And that's when a dude is like, that's when he first talks about it. Yeah, and I don't know what, obviously it's 1 of 3. This is how it's setting it, what it's going to be. Yeah, I don't know what, I'm interested to see what this war is. And it is making me wonder if it is in the same world as Spider-Man Reign. Because I think there was 2 of those books. I've only read the one.
Yeah.
And that was the one where I found out that Spider-Man's semen was radioactive.
So, so he gets back onto the island, back on Manhattan, and he gets accosted by some guys. This is my favorite part, where he gets pushed down the stairs, and he's like, I don't have any powers, but he's like, move, touch, feel. You know how to do this. God helps those who help. And of course he bites it in the end anyway. But he does save himself from,
throughout the
breaking
book, he keeps repeating the phrase "God's plan." It's all God's plan. Keeps
Yeah.
getting repeated.
So these guys, and he's just like, look, man, here, just have all my money. I don't give a shit, but just leave me alone. And they do, and they leave his
Don't
stick.
take the cane. You can have my
You
money.
throw it at him, and like, you can do it. It's right there, and he gets hit in the face with his own
So
cane.
yeah, it's him still trying to offer that classic Matt Murdock trying to see the best in people and getting punished for it.
So he goes back to where he's clearly got a soup kitchen that he runs called Battling Jack's
Battling Jack's.
house, and he's just doing what he can, and people are. General Barton's border teams have captured 4 attempted DB infiltrators in the last week, a promising result that suggests, and that's from the news. And
See that? General Barton, like we're already world building to something there with Hawkeye.
the subway, people start running out of it, and there's a giant, looks like a gamma bomb.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking
Green.
too, because that guy, when it goes off, one of the guys that set it off has his mask off, and they're like, put your mask back on because the radiation. He's like, no, I want what this will give me. Like, he's thinking he's going to turn into the Hulk and get superpowers, because why wouldn't you? Because that's the Marvel Universe. You get bit by a radioactive spider,
So
you're Spider-Man.
he suddenly gets his powers back all of a sudden, and he's like, okay. He has a vision of Stick, and he's like, okay, I gotta focus on
this
one
is a great
thing.
sequence. Yeah, it flashes back to as a kid. He's like, I hear everything. He goes, well, focus on one thing, and it's the blood drop of this girl that's hurt, but she isn't dead. Yeah, it's great.
So he's helping out, and he's doing what he can, and he is helping what he said. But then he sees that there's where the bomb is, and he goes back to where it is, and he's going. He goes down in there, and who was it?
He's Captain America.
Oh,
or Steve.
No, but he's listening to these guys, and this one guy is saying that went like a charm. Look what I got. Put on your mask.
Oh yeah, he's got Cap's shield.
Yeah, he's like, put on your mask. I'm like, no, man, I'm gonna give me. You're gonna be jealous. And he hears another heartbeat, and he goes and he sees it's Captain America, and he's hurt. He's holding up the thing, trying to help that one person.
Yeah, he's got rhubarb sticking out all over.
Rhubarb.
He's gonna. Well, the
Oh,
situation
you said
is.
rhubarb.
I did. The situation is foobarred. For sure.
So he's like, hey, can you hold on? He's like, no, I'm not going anywhere. It wasn't the DBs. Take the girl, get her out. She's the reason this happened. She's what he wanted. I saw it. Get out of here. But as you go, listen, because the thing's coming down, and he's just talking because he knows Matt can hear him, even though Matt's running far away from him. Yeah. And he says there was a shipment, military, moving chemicals from one base to another, old stuff, part of a plan to get ahead of the DBs, new warrior project. You wouldn't believe how high it goes, how deep, how far back. Yeah. And then he's gone.
Yeah. And the fact that he's also like, you can't escape because I have your scent. I will find you, pretty much.
Yeah.
And so we get the reveal of who the villain is.
Well, he runs after the guys.
Yeah.
And that's kind of interesting because he's that's where he's. But I've got your scent, and they got the reveal, and my guess is that it's Bullseye.
That's what I was thinking too.
Okay. But he's an old dude, and he's like sticking fucking pins through his own hand
to steady his hand. But so what I thought it was going to be Frank at first. I thought the villain was going to be Frank when he like laid out on the shield. But then there's another sequence. I'm like, oh, okay, because I thought two things. I'm like, it's either Frank or it's Bullseye. And then the next few pages, like, that answers.
Well, they show him. Yeah, he sticks a needle in his hand just so he can steady it, so he can touch the shield.
And he, like, lays on it, like,
yeah.
Oh yes.
And he says everything's right on target. They show Matt opening his
that
trunk.
too. And he said right on target. I'm like, okay.
And then so he has the shield, and big reveal.
Yeah, he's been hacking up Frank Castle.
I mean, he's just pitted. His skin is pitted, and he's got no arms and no legs, and he's being held up and
dehydrated. This has been a while.
Yeah, and he's got the Punisher logo cut into his chest,
which that makes me think it's Bullseye, because Bullseye is fucking sadistic. So yeah,
but that's the big reveal, and of course, like they show later, whatever has happened, whatever will happen, he's jumping over the city, and of course, he's back. And that's
whatever happens will happen. It's all
part of God's
plan.
Yeah, that's a wrap.
I enjoy it a lot. I think that again, it goes back to what I said. A great way to get me not to complain about a genre or a trope is to make a better story for it. And I think I really like the groundwork that's laid here. I think it's definitely done enough world building and interesting things. The ending was kind of crazy of just seeing the fact that he already chopped off 2 of his legs at that point.
He has no arms or legs.
I thought he still had an arm.
No, he has no arms. There's things coming out of his stumps.
He's chained up to a wall.
Yeah.
Like an animal.
Just to hold him there, really, because he can't stand up.
And he's just snapping at him like he's still defiant, still frank. But
Um,
I thought it'd be fitting to end
my
with
guess-
Born Again and also talk about
my
this.
guess
this
with
week.
the DBs, Doombots.
Ooh, that would make sense.
Because it was driving me nuts. I was like, what could it be? DBs.
Doombots makes a lot of sense. Because they're pushing Doom hard this summer.
Right, because of the One World Under Doom.
Yeah,
so that was my thought, but I don't know.
It probably no. I don't think it's connected to that anyway. I want to be clear, but I could see that. Because I mean, Doombot makes the most sense.
I get that Power Man Timeless is trying to be more in a cosmic vein. I get that. But to me, if you're going to use a character for that, I wouldn't use Power Man. I wouldn't use Luke Cage. I would use a different hero for that, just because.
Yeah.
To me, Luke Cage is not... He's not all that interesting to me, but that's me. He might be really interesting to a lot more people, and I liked his TV show until they killed off Mahershala Ali, and then it was like, what are we doing? What?
Yeah.
What is that costume on that guy?
I don't know. I think it was really good enough to say I would. It's only 3 issues.
I'm going to get all 3.
So might as well read the whole thing.
In fact, when I leave here, I'm going to go get my books. My pull list.
Well, then go home.
I'm fucking leaving. Off panel, off topic with Jake and Tyler.